Hey babe, I need you to know that every word I'm about to share with you comes from the deepest, rawest corner of my heart. For months now, I've played out this moment in my mind, how I'd sit across from you, how my voice would tremble, how the silence between us would weigh heavy as you searched my face for truth. Some nights, I'd lie awake, crafting entire conversations in my head, imagining your questions, imagining the way my eyes might falter before I gathered the courage to meet your gaze again, praying you wouldn't see the fear hiding there. And now here I am, breathing that fragile silence into life, praying these words land softly instead of shattering everything we have so lovingly built. You deserve the whole truth, not the polished version of me I once believed would be enough, stitched together from bright pieces while the jagged parts were hidden deep in the shadows. I thought if I filled our days with laughter, sunshine, road trips, and lazy breakfasts, you might never pause long enough to notice the cracks beneath my smiles. But the secrets pressed closer to the surface with every passing day, like bruises demanding to be seen. Sometimes, when you held me close and whispered that I was safe, my heart would pound so loudly I was sure you could hear it, not because I doubted you, but because I was never safe with myself. I carried a house of mirrors inside me, each reflection distorted by old fears and guilt I never fully outgrew. I told myself I had good reasons for staying silent, that it was to protect you, protect us, that it simply was not the right time. But the truth is, silence became a cage, and I locked myself inside long before I ever met you. I want to walk you through those fragile rooms of my past, so you can understand the walls I built. Some rooms are messy, scattered with half-finished dreams and promises I couldn't even keep to myself. You'd see the girl who grew up believing love had an expiration date, because stability never survived in the house where she learned to tiptoe around anger. You'd see the young woman who let disappointment carve deep canyons into her faith, until she expected it with every new hope. I didn't realize until your steady love surrounded me that I still braced for impact every time someone said, "I'm not going anywhere." So I became a master storyteller, sharing only the inspiring chapters, leaving out the ones drenched in regret. I told you about jobs I thrived in but hid the ones I quit too soon, terrified of being discovered as a fraud. I told you about friendships that fed my soul but not the ones I ended in fear. I spoke of therapy as if it were a thing of the past, never admitting how recently I returned to it, desperate to find my footing again in the quiet hours before dawn. At the heart of every secret was one fear, that if you saw every flawed layer of me, you might decide you preferred the illusion over the real, breathing woman before you. It's unfair, I know. I always encouraged you to be vulnerable with me, promised I wouldn't flinch from your scars. Yet for myself, I clung to the old belief that it was noble for others to be honest, but dangerous for me. I worried that if you knew how unfinished I truly was, you'd feel burdened rather than blessed. Despite my best efforts to maintain the mask, I couldn't silence the tension forever. Every time you looked at me with that pure, unfiltered trust, something inside me recoiled, unsure if I deserved it. Every time you said I love you, I felt like a thief accepting something precious I was not sure I had earned. Maybe you noticed that brief falter in my smile, the half-second hesitation. In that moment, I wondered, would you still say those words if you knew everything? I'm done wondering. I'm done rehearsing excuses. I'm done living a split-screen life where one half of me reaches toward you and the other half hides in the shadows. So here I am, offering you the real, unedited version of myself. I battle anxiety more often than I admit. I have learned to function through it working, joking, planning, but some mornings start with a heavy fist around my chest, and even brushing my teeth feels like wading through quicksand. I perform, smile, carry on until I'm alone again, when I sink to the floor and wait for the shaking to pass. I hid this because I wanted to offer you calm, not chaos. I carry debt not crushing, but enough that it hums in the back of my mind when we dream aloud about traveling the world. It comes from a time when I chased a dream without a safety net and was too ashamed to ask for help when it crumbled. I told half-truths about lost opportunities without admitting how my empty bank account kept me awake at night. Sometimes, around people who remind me of authority figures from my past, I shrink. You have seen it the way I nod along when I disagree, the hesitation in my voice when you ask if I'm okay. It traces back to a professor who once told me I lacked the backbone to succeed, and even now, when I raise my voice in a room, a small voice inside me fears being proved wrong. And the hardest truth, before you, I ended a relationship by disappearing. I justified it, told myself it was necessary, but deep down, I knew it was cowardice, my fear of conflict, my flight instinct winning. Ghosting someone leaves a quiet shame you cannot easily escape. I told cleaner versions of the story to friends and even to myself, but the regret lingered, the fear that one day, I might run again, even from something good. That's the woman you have loved all along, anxious, imperfect, learning, growing. I'm sharing this because I love you more than I fear losing you. I believe relationships should be sanctuaries built on truth, and I want ours to be that sacred space. It would be easier to keep performing. It would mean fewer tears, fewer raw conversations, fewer risks. But I know that if I stayed silent, you'd eventually lose me anyway, not the woman you see, but the one you could truly know if only I dared let you. I can't promise this confession won't be difficult. Maybe you'll need time to process, to decide if the distance between the image you held and the reality I am feels like a canyon or a crack we can mend together. I accept that risk. I accept that real love demands real risks, and I'm done hiding from them. What I can promise is that I'm committed to growth. I'm in therapy every week, learning to dismantle the old patterns that held me captive. I'm facing my debts, no longer pretending they'll solve themselves. I'm working to choose communication over running, to build strength where fear once stood. I'm not asking you to save me. I'm asking you to witness me. To walk beside me, not to carry my burdens, but to cheer as I lay them down, one by one. And I promise to do the same for you, to create a space where we both can rise, stumble, and rise again, stronger each time. If we build a future together, I want it anchored in honesty, in foundations deep enough to weather the storms, not facades that crumble under the first hard rain. So here, take my truth. Feel its weight. Turn it in your hands. See where it reflects the light and where it absorbs it. Ask me anything, no question too sharp, no answer too painful to give. You deserve every truth, every answer, every trembling piece of me. And after the questions, after the air between us grows thick with the fullness of who we are, maybe we can breathe together again. Maybe that breath will feel different, heavier, richer, real. Maybe it will sting a little first. But I believe, with every imperfect beat of my heart, that truth will taste sweeter than any illusion ever could. If you choose to stay, I will meet you there, no masks, no half-truths. Just us, raw and resilient, building something fierce from the debris of my confessions. Take all the time you need, love. Whatever you feel right now, confusion, sadness, anger, even fear is valid. Trust is fragile, and I am not entitled to yours simply because I finally found the courage to be honest. All I can do is keep showing up again and again until trust becomes the air we breathe, effortless and steady. Thank you for listening, truly listening. Thank you for all the quiet evenings where you sensed storms I couldn't name and held me anyway. Thank you for believing there was more to me than my fear. I hope my honesty proves you right. There is more vulnerability, more strength, more love than I ever dared to show. Whatever happens from here, know this: loving you has taught me the value of being seen. You held up a mirror and asked me to look, and at last, I'm ready. No matter where this road leads, deeper into each other or onto different paths, I will carry the gratitude of how you helped me rediscover myself. With all of me unfiltered, unfinished, unafraid. At last, your partner. Amen. If you'd like to show your support, you can give super thanks up to $30.